Hello, bookworms! Today I'm going to be sharing my July wrap-up, and I am under a time crunch, so this is going to be something of a speed wrap-up because I spent so much more time filming my book haul than I thought it would take. I thought that would be like a really short video, and it was not, and we are getting picked up soon to go and celebrate my birthday, so I need to get things moving. Oh, but just before I get started, I'm going to continue doing wrap-ups the way that I did in the past. So I'm going to talk about all of the books that I read, then I'm going to move into the TV shows and movies that I watched, and then talk about any of the games that I played. So kicking things off with books, we've got a whole bunch of fantasy to talk about. The first one is A Game of Thrones. This is nothing new to you guys. I feel like I've been talking about Game of Thrones so much lately, and it's not just to you, it's literally to everyone who will listen to me in my real life. I just kept like reading it and telling Andrew like, this is so good. And he was like laughing at me because I'm treating it like something brand new, but obviously everyone in the world is familiar with it. But I really loved it. I just love anything with like court politics. So this like competing for the throne and the backstabbing and everything just like really speaks to me. It's very character driven. It's very much like the aesthetic that I love, where it's like old kind of fantasy knights and swords and big dresses. And I'm also really excited to learn more about like the White Walkers and what's north of the wall and all of that kind of stuff. So I feel like the first book did a really great job of like laying a lot of the seeds, and I'm so excited to see like where the characters are going to go from here and how some of my personal favorites and tastes will change as I keep reading the books in the series. As of right now, my favorite character is for sure Daenerys, and second favorite character is probably Tyrion, but I am expecting Arya to become a favorite character as I like continue reading. Just so in love with these, and so glad that I decided to kind of impulsively pick it up because it's been a game changer for me. But I will move on because I've been talking about these a lot, so. Okay, the next book that I read is actually sci-fi. It's Howling Dark by Christopher Ruocchio. I no longer have a physical copy of this one because I was unhauling some books. I was donating a bunch of them, so I knew that I was going to be investing in the Broken Binding editions, and they said initially that they were going to be using the US covers. So I was like, well, there's no reason for me to keep the US covers if I'm going to be getting a special edition of them. So I ended up donating those ones. Unfortunately, it seems like they are now not offering the US covers because they just released the cover for Empire of Silence, which I do really like. Like, it's super beautiful. Actually, thankfully, I did keep my hardcover of Empire of Silence just because that cover specifically is like a favorite of mine. That's all an aside to talk about Howling Dark. So Howling Dark is the second book in the Sun Eater series. I did read the novella that came between The Lesser Devil like earlier on, but I have to say, I did not like Howling Dark as much as I liked Empire of Silence. Like, I really liked the end of it. The ending was like pretty explosive and exciting and definitely has me really looking forward to reading the next book. But initially, I was definitely more into Empire of Silence. In the beginning of Howling Dark, there is a bit of a time jump, and there are all of these new characters that are introduced, and I felt really like invested in the people and in the characters from book one, and it was just like a lot of new things to learn right off the bat, which I wasn't expecting. I was kind of expecting to meet some people along the way, not that they would like already be big players within the second book. So that was like a little bit jarring for me, but once I did get used to it, I definitely got more into the narrative. Also, I do like the audiobook. I did kind of like a mix of reading on audio and reading on ebook for this. The first one I read completely on ebook, and I think I'm going to go back to reading the ebook for book 3 when I get to it. But yeah, so I enjoyed Howling Dark, but I didn't like it as much as Empire of Silence. But I am hopeful that I will love book 3. So I'm excited to keep going. Next up, I read Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb. This is the third and final book in the Live Ship Trader series. As I mentioned in an earlier video, I posted a poll on Instagram with like some emoji hints to see what people thought I should read next. And the winner was to finish a series. So this was the winner. It's quite a big book. So it seems like I read less than I normally do this month, but it's because everything that I read was like a pretty big book. So I really enjoyed this book. I really love the world of the Live Ship Traders. I think like it's some of the most fun fantasy. Like I love being at sea. I love like all of the nautical elements and all of like, I feel like it's very technical too. Like if you've ever gone sailing or like been on a boat, there's a lot of it that is just portrayed really well in the series. So I love that aspect of it. I really love a lot of the characters in here. Some of them are like all-time favorite characters. And I specifically really liked the arc of one character that I hated in the beginning, but then loved at the end. So that was definitely like a fun journey. However, I didn't love this book as much as I was expecting to. Like it wasn't a 5-star read for me. And it's because there was something that happens like toward the middle latter half of the book, I think more like latter half, that I just really didn't enjoy reading. I didn't like seeing it happen. I didn't like the resolution for it. So while like I really enjoyed it because I love the world and because I love the characters, I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to. And especially like early on as I was reading it, I was like, oh, this is like a new favorite for sure. This is so good. I'm loving everything in here. And then it kind of like took a little bit of a turn for me later on. I still enjoyed it. I didn't like hate it or anything, but I was definitely a bit disappointed by this one, which was really surprising because Robin Hobb has not disappointed me yet. But with that being said, I'm so looking forward to finally getting back to Fitz and the Fool and starting the Tawny Man trilogy. I definitely want to do that within the coming months. I'll probably wait like a couple of months. I honestly feel like I have so many excellent books on my TBR right now that it's so hard to like decide what to read next because I'm like, I want to read everything next. Like, I want to keep going with Game of Thrones. I want to keep going with Realm of the Elderlings. I want to dive into The Bound and the Broken. There's just so much that I'm like really excited about, which is a good problem to have. So enjoyed this one. Not my favorite, but I am really glad that I did finish up the Live Ship Traders series. Then I read Goblins and Greatcoats by Travis Baldree. This is like a really short, I want to say it's a 14-page short story that Travis wrote that was offered for free on the Subterranean Press website. It might still be up for free. I'm not 100% sure, but if you Google it, I'm sure you can figure it out. I don't really have much to say about this because again, it was 14 pages. It was super short. It was fun, cute, and you know, it's set in the same world as Legends and Lattes, so that was fun. But I don't really have like, it was fine. Like I don't really have much of an opinion on it because it was just too short to like have feelings about. Then I read Critical Role, Mighty Nein Origins, Caduceus Clay. I think this is the last book in the Mighty Nein Origins comic series, and I enjoyed this one. These ones just show the early like origin of the character. I really liked the way that this one ended, and I really liked the artwork within it. I think Caduceus is such a great character. He's this like beautiful pink furbolg. So I really liked that, like the art aspect, I think most of all. I felt like overall it was not one of the stronger installments. Like the story was just fine, but I did really like the art. So it was fun. And then I also read One Piece Volume 8 and One Piece Volume 9. These are both in the East Blue story arc. I'm coming toward the end of that. I think I have 3 more volumes in East Blue, and then I'll be on to the next arc. I didn't really enjoy the like floating restaurant at sea storyline as much. Like I do really like Sanji, but I wasn't like as invested. I felt like there was like a lot of fighting, which I know that shonen is a lot of fighting. But I felt like there was like a lot of fighting in that story arc, and I just like didn't really care as much. But then in volume 9, we get Nami's backstory, and that I just loved. Like that had a lot of like emotional character beats, which is what I tend to like most in stories. So that was such a pleasure. And I'm really loving that part of East Blue, and I'm excited to see like how that's going to wrap up potentially in, you know, the next volume. So yeah, still on my One Piece journey, still enjoying it. But that's all that I have to share. Well, I mean, I will just quickly mention, probably shouldn't since I have to go soon, but I will just tell you 2 more books that I'm in the middle of reading but didn't finish. So Andrew and I have been listening to the Dungeon Crawler Carl audiobook. We listened to it for like hours while we were doing this 1,000-piece Dungeons and Dragons puzzle, which was really fun. And we made it like 75% into the audiobook, I want to say, but we just need to set aside some time together to listen to it and finish it up. I'm almost done with this one. I'm not done with it yet, but I'll talk about it next month when I do complete it. But it's a lot of fun so far. And then I'm also finally reading Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first time that I'm reading it, and I cannot believe the amount of Cosmere connections that I've seen just within the first like couple of chapters. I want to say I'm like 10% into it now, and I'm filming this on the weekend, so there is a chance that I could finish it by the end of July, but I think it's probably doubtful, and it'll probably be like one of the very first books that I finish in August, so I'll talk about it then, but I am in the middle of reading it and enjoying it so far. Okay, so moving on to TV and film. I actually did not watch any movies at all. Well, actually, that's not true. The only movie I watched in July was Fellowship of the Ring, but I'm not going to talk about that because I watch that all the time. So I do want to talk about some TV shows. So I've mentioned before, but Andrew and I have a subscription to Dropout, which used to be College Humor, and it's now like a streaming site, and it is honestly just like perfect for us. It is full of people who love improv. It's full of people who love like nerdy things, and there's just so much like I really enjoy like sketch comedy. I've always liked like SNL, and all of these shows on here like are very much in line with that, but they have a subset of it that's called Dimension 20. That consists of shows that are Dungeons and Dragons campaigns. First one that I want to talk about, if you're someone that has been curious about Dungeons and Dragons, but you've seen something like Critical Role, which is like a huge time investment. This show that I'm going to mention first, which is Escape from the Bloodkeep, is a really great place to kind of get your feet wet and see if it's something that you would enjoy. Right off the bat, it is based on the world of Lord of the Rings, so it's something that you're likely going to be very familiar with. It's such a fun story. It's only 6 episodes. It's not hundreds of episodes. Each of the episodes are roughly 2 hours. The last one, the 6th episode, is about 3 hours. They are long episodes, but it is definitely shorter than if you were to watch like Critical Role is like 140 episodes, and each one is between like 3.5 to 5 hours. So this is significantly less time, but really fun. Each of the players are somebody that works for the Lord of Shadows, essentially Sauron, and like right in the beginning is clearly when the ring is thrown into Mount Doom and the Lord of Shadows disappears. So these are all of his like inner circle that are working to try to bring him back and try to figure out like what to do to get him back. So all of them are villains, which is really fun. There's so many just references to Lord of the Rings, and it's funny because every time that they're getting into combat, it's always with like the good guys in Lord of the Rings. They obviously can't say anything Lord of the Rings because of copyright, so everything is just like, you know, parody names, and it's just so fun. Like, I really had such a blast watching this campaign, and I think that you guys would really enjoy it as well if you like fantasy and like Lord of the Rings and are curious about Dungeons and Dragons. And I also think that it's available on YouTube. You don't have to have a subscription, but this show might convince you to get one. And then another Dimension 20 show that we watched is Fantasy High. So we watched the first year of it, first season, their freshman year, and this one's really fun. It's again a D&D campaign, but it's kind of like a set within like the world of like a John Hughes movie. So we're following like a bunch of characters that are completely different from each other. It's almost like The Breakfast Club. Like there's a stereotype of kind of everyone, and they end up having to team up together at their adventuring academy. They go to Ogford Adventuring Academy where they're learning to be adventurers, and they uncover some kind of secret thing that's going on with their teachers and some of their parents, and it's really fun. Like they're all just like high school students, so it's low fantasy. It's not your typical fantasy world with like castles and whatever. It's like a suburb, and there's like, they're going to high school, there's like an ice cream shop, they spend a lot of time at school. It's really fun. I specifically love Emily Ashford. Her character Fig is so good. and she is definitely one of my favorite like D&D players of all time. Then also on Dropout, but not part of Dimension 20, we watched seasons 7 to 8 of Actually, which I don't think I ever talked about in a video before because we kind of watched all of it while I hadn't been having the time to make videos. But Actually is a game show for nerds. The basic premise is that the host reads a paragraph. Within that paragraph, there is something about a nerd property that is incorrect, and the players have to buzz in and identify what is incorrect and like say what the correction is, but you have to begin your phrase with actually, otherwise you don't get the point. So it's really fun. And then there are like shiny questions where the questions are a little different or more involved, and it's just a really good time. They have like a lot of the people that are in the other shows on Dropout that are contestants, and then also just, you know, other people. So it's very entertaining. We really enjoy it, and we're like almost caught up, which I'm kind of sad about because they're so fun to watch. And then last in this category, we watched seasons 1 and 2 of The Traitors, which is on Peacock. And this is a like reality game show kind of thing that's set in a Scottish castle. And the host is Alan Cummings. It's so funny. He wears the best outfits. Like it's a blast. It's very cheesy, very over the top, but basically like it's all of these contestants that are staying in a castle together, and there are usually like 3 people that are chosen as traitors, and the rest of the people are called the faithful, and the faithful have to try to identify who the traitors are, and they're all competing to win money at the end. So in the first season, there was a mix of people from other reality shows along with like regular people, and then in season 2 they changed it and made it just reality show contestants. So there's a lot of people from like Survivor, Big Brother, some people from Bravo shows, but it's very fun. Like I think we watched the first season in like a day or 2 because it was addicting, and I'm really looking forward to season 3, even though Tom Sandoval is going to be on it, and I hate that Bravo is continuing to shove that man down our throats. I'm really hoping that he'll be like the first one voted off because I feel like no one should feel bad for getting rid of him. But anyway, I digress. That's it for this section, and then moving on to games. So this month we finished playing Super Mario RPG, which is a game from Andrew's childhood that he just loved. He actually still has his like very weathered copy of his like guide to the game, which was fun. So we were using that as we were playing. This was one where I was playing the game and Andrew kind of took a back seat, and he would direct me like and tell me when there were secret things that I should get. But it was really fun. Like I really wanted to play this just because it means so much to Andrew. So it was nice to like experience something that was an integral part of his childhood. It's also different than any other Mario game because it's an RPG. So it's like turn-based fighting style, and there's like a fun, cute little story, and the big bad is not Bowser, which is entertaining. And Andrew told me that a lot of Bowser's personality kind of came from this game, so that was really fun too. I had a lot of fun with this one, and I'm glad that we completed it. And then 2 other games that I wanted to just mention, like we didn't play them in July, but we played them when I was on my YouTube hiatus, so I just want to like notate them, were Princess Peach Showtime. So I was so excited for this game because I was really excited that Peach, you know, got her own title, and I really loved all of the different like outfits that she got to wear. I thought everything was super cute. Like the design of it was so great. However, it is a game for children. It was really not that fun. Like Andrew, we did everything. We 100%ed it, but it was definitely not something that we like looked forward to doing necessarily. I think we like played it as much as we did because we were more excited to just like be free. But again, I did really like the outfits, but I was disappointed with the gameplay of that one. And then the other game that I want to mention is BioShock. So Andrew and I finally completed the first BioShock game. We had been starting it and then not finishing it for like years and years and years, like since we've been dating. So like 10 years it took us, but we finally did it. And I really enjoyed it. I really like the story. I'm excited to continue on with the next ones too. I think that will be a lot of fun, but the ending is really funny. Like the game is like so like fleshed out and has such an interesting world. And I really liked that aspect of it. And then like the conclusion, like ending to the game is so anticlimactic and it's such like a quick like letdown and the graphics are like awful, but it was really fun. So we're looking forward to playing BioShock 2 soon and hopefully completing it in less than 10 years. That's all that I wanted to mention today. I have to get ready to go. Let me know your favorite book that you read in July, or like your favorite show or movie that you watched or game that you played. And that is all that I have for this video. So I will see you guys soon in a new one. Bye!